So you have your kit together. You've been practicing your form. You're ready to go. Your spindle is burned in. You have your notch carved. You have your handhold primed. You have a coal catcher, something we haven't mentioned yet. Something that that's thin. We're gonna slip under the board where you just carved your notch, and it's gonna help hold that dust and make it easy to transfer into your tinder bundle. And you're gonna get ready to go. So a couple of overarching principles that are really important to consider. We talked about comfort and breathing, and something that falls in line with that is just rhythm. When you start getting into this, you're going to be bowing, and you want to maintain a nice rhythm, a rhythmic pace. Some people I know will have people sing songs to maintain that, but you just don't want short, jerky motions. So I think rhythm is a key component. You want to think about speed, pressure, duration. These are these three variables that are going to be consistently applied in bow drill, but we see them as sort of like fluctuating equations. And different woods are going to require different equations of speed, pressure, and duration. So denser woods tend to require a much longer duration. For example, if I have an oak kit, we recommend low density woods, but truth be told, you can get a coal with a bow drill kit carved out of any wood. So, explore. You have so many opportunities to try and learn new things and how different woods react and form your own opinions and biases and understand nuances and be surprised. I'm still surprised. Somebody had a spruce and oak kit and I went, "Meh," and it worked like a charm. So, there's a lot to learn in this. Speed, pressure, and duration, these are variables and they're going to change. So I have this cedar kit. I am going to have a speed primarily of a jog. I'm going to start with a walk for just a moment. I'm going to jog the duration, and I'm going to kick it up just a little bit in that speed just at the very end. Duration's not very long, and moderate pressure. The thing about downward pressure is a funny thing, right? As we're moving that pressure from our handhold down our spindle into the board, is that you don't need very much, but you need to overcompensate it often in the beginning. In the beginning, it's usually not enough. And so ultimately very little is needed, but due to inconsistencies in form and technique, you need to kind of overcompensate to make that happen. As you get practiced, a really cool goal to have in mind is what is the least amount of effort that I can employ to still be successful. If you're getting dust or smoke, you don't have to put in any more effort past that, especially if you're just jogging through, creating that dust, which are the wood fibers in the spindle and the fireboard meeting, and that friction shearing them off of each other. You're just going to jog while all that dust is collected and fills that notch in your fireboard. I find that a lot of people find a lot of success and understand the nuances a little bit more if they move away from overexertion to what is the least amount of effort. And in general, in a principle, efficiency is a goal to reach for. Okay, I have all my pieces to go. I'm going to take this thin little piece of bark I just pulled off the ground. I'm going to slip it underneath the notch of the fireboard without disrupting the ability of the fireboard to lay flat. And I'm going to get into position and go for a coal. So I'm getting into position, and I'm just going to recap and share some of the things that I'm thinking about. My board's in a flat place. I have a little thin piece of bark underneath my notch to catch that coal, a coal catcher if you will. My foot is really close to my socket. I can just fit my finger in there, barely. My foot's perpendicular and it's holding onto the board with the arch. My dominant leg is in line, directly in line with the heel of my foot that's on the board, and my back foot is helping balance me. I'm going to get my spindle into my string. My spindle's in my string, and that string has good tension. My hand that's holding the handhold is going to come down around my leg, and I'm going to rotate my wrist in, creating negative space that's going to fit the space of my shin. And I'm going to lock that together and stabilize my wrist so that there's no wobbling. My spindle is on the outside of the string, and the string is halfway up the spindle. And I want to be able, that's going to help me use the whole length of that string. I want to use the whole bow. It's way more efficient. I'm going to grab by the back. I'm going to adjust with my wrist to keep that bow flat. I'm gonna breathe, move into a jog, and I'm just gonna hang out a jog. Hanging out a jog means like I can still talk to you. It also means I'm breathing. My notch filled with dust. I'm slowly moving off of it. I don't want to kick my board. I see there's wisps of smoke. I'm going to give it a little bit of fanning with my hand. That smoke persists, which is to say, I got a coal. There's no need to rush here. Take your time. I kind of believe that it allows it to coalesce, right? This dust that was ripped off in the friction between the spindle and the fireboard has come together, hit that critical point, and is now actively burning. When I want to remove the fireboard, I'm going to gently lift, just give one little tap. I take any dust on that fireboard and I put it in my tinder bundle. I bring my tinder bundle closer to me so it doesn't have that distance to travel. Make sure I have a center, that divot. I'm going to place that right in there. And I'm going to fold that tinder bundle up around the sides to make sure that that coal is in the center. I want a snug hold. I don't want to crush it. And I start to give it just a little bit of air. So long, slow, steady breaths. Long, slow, steady breaths is what's key. It's a small coal. I give it a small amount of air. As that smoke increases, I increase the amount of air that I give it, and that is what we refer to as the conversation. Sometimes you have to adjust things, give it air from new angles, recompress it if it's burned out a lot of the core. Everything's pretty dry today, so I know that this should kick off pretty easily. And the things that I think are important are knowing that you can hold this while it's still in flame. And that's going to set you up to be able to better put it into your fire structure. And that you want to think about doing this in a place where you can easily drop it, because it's never worth burning yourself. Oh, that's the next one. And there you have it.